Good afternoon. My name is Rob Bowman, and today I'll be presenting the lessons learned based off of the recent ransomware attack that occurred against the United States communication system at the Five Eyes Summit. So, a brief description of the attack itself. The communication system suffered a ransomware attack when a phishing email with an attachment was opened and a script was executed out of the file onto the system. This resulted in many sensitive files being encrypted to the point where the information in them could not be read. At that point, the cyber team was called into action to resolve the problem. And this consisted of doing several system scans and decoding files or decrypting files and figuring out where the attack originated from and how to de-encrypt the sensitive files. Eventually, the cyber team was able to complete its mission, and currently the system is functioning at normal capacity. However, there are updates or changes that will need to be made in order to ensure that this type of attack does not occur again. So some of the recovery work that the cyber team undertook during this attack was determining the type of attack. This was done through running several different scans using programs such as Wireshark, Snort, things of that nature. The scans then informed us that the type of attack was a result of ransomware, likely executed from an Excel file that looked like a typical invoice that a unsuspecting victim would receive during the course of regular operating procedure any other month. However, this, when enacted in Excel, resulted in the encryption of several files, devices, and systems. In order to de-encrypt these, the cyber team went ahead and ran the files that were found, the evidence that was found through programs such as RSecret and password crackers to determine that there were passwords included in the files, which were then inserted into our encrypted files, and thusly the files became unlocked without having to pay the ransom. So then the next step was determining how the attack occurred. That was done through research and reviewing the encrypted files and also looking through the email filters to see how the file was first got onto the system. So there are several areas where the team was effective, even if the problem was initially a system issue in which there was a vulnerability that was exploited. Some areas where the team was effective were the quick response to the event, the determining of causes, i.e. the Excel spreadsheet invoice, restoring the system files, which was, as discussed previously, the decryption of the files and the ability to get the system back up and running and people back to being able to participate in the summit. The team also worked efficiently together and was able to quickly resolve all issues. They're also able to determine the next steps forward in terms of how the system can be improved, and finally, determining the necessary system upgrades, such as what type of software should be used in the future, or if any other policies should be enacted. However, since there was a breach to begin with, that tells us that there are areas that need improvement. Some of the areas that need improvement consist of the failed security controls that allowed the attack to happen in the first place. These include monitoring systems, so software that we probably will need to update, such as anti-malware softwares, also antivirus scanners, and also our email filtering system, as the attack was perpetrated through a phishing email that should have been caught before it even reached someone's inbox. We also need to examine controls. So we'll need to upgrade, as mentioned, our antivirus software. We'll need to install a better system for monitoring the emails and also for monitoring various other forms of communication, such as instant messages or text messages, anything that could transmit a file or a link that could potentially lead to another malware or ransomware attack happening. We also need to look at a policy of instituting training so that the workforce will be able to recognize an attack prior to it happening or when it's happening. And finally, we need to create backup controls, which are areas where files and other sensitive information can be saved outside of the main server, so that if an attack or a ransomware situation happens in the future, we'll be able to access all the sensitive information quickly and in an uninfected area. This is important as it will be the easiest and safest manner in which we can restore business operations in the quickest way possible. Additionally, we'll need to, as mentioned before, improve security awareness programs. This will be involving providing new and updated training that should include real-world examples, such as some of the documentation or examples, some of the forensic evidence that we've accumulated through this event. We also need to offer incentives for positive behavior. Positive behavior would be something along the lines of, if they see a issue, they report it. That's how we were first alerted to the problems we faced at the Five Eyes Summit. Also, if they use strong passwords, etc., there needs to be some form of a positive enforcement for that behavior. Exploited vulnerabilities is also an area where there needs to be improvement. There was obviously weak email scanning, so that needs to be updated. Training was not readily available so that people could understand what was happening. And also, as discussed previously, the vulnerability and malicious software scanning devices failed to intercept the file before it released its malicious code, so that will need to be addressed as well. Looking at the future of the system security, we need to ensure that we install and update patches on a regular basis. Updated programs need to be installed regularly. And we also need to ensure that all known threats are addressed through either paying attention to current events or through updating the patches. So in conclusion, the things that were effective that the team did were determining the type of attack, addressing the issues, and having the systems up and running quickly. Ineffective areas or actions included monitoring and email of policies and also training. And finally, improvements or areas that need to be addressed: beef up the training, have stricter usage and access policies, and monitoring scans and policies need to be instituted in order to ensure that the information that is coming to inbound and outbound on the network is as safe as possible. Thank you, and I will take any questions.